Everybody is finding a reason for their life, bringing out the gifts from deep inside. Now I've found my voice.
Ein herzliches Willkommen an all euch Zusehenden des Being You Online Summits. Heute bin ich verbunden mit Los Angeles. Heute bin ich verbunden mit Spring Groove. I'm so happy, Spring, that you joined my summit. A very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. Totally happy to be here.
So we have 9 hours difference, but we are in the same world.
Yes, it seems like we are connected.
Yes. Spring, the summit, the title of the summit is Being You. What does being you means to you?
I like the question. I've been thinking about this very question. It's such a broad question, right? What does being you mean to me? The first word that comes to mind is authenticity, the authentic version of you, because I feel like we've become in the habit of being lots of different faces. And I think that's natural. But I just think the trick is to always be authentic, even the way we are forced to play different roles, and there are expectations that others are putting upon us, that we're putting upon ourselves. But the key is authenticity. I think authenticity is love. So when we follow love as a divine guide, we're authentic and we are being me or you. We're being ourselves.
Mm-hmm. You talk about these different roles we play. So maybe some people of the summit don't know you. So which roles you play in the world? I see the guitars or even the instruments there in the back.
Right. Yes, I'm a teacher and I'm a therapist. I'm a therapist I work with seniors that are living many times with memory loss. So seniors who are living with Alzheimer, not all of them, but a lot. And I do music sessions with them. And I play music for them. I play music with them. We play along. We get instruments going. And I really see the power of music and how strong a medicine it is. It's a fantastic job. I love connecting with these people who are so much older than me usually, have lived a whole life that I don't get to know and just get to feel. And I love this job. So I'm a therapist, and I also do yoga sessions with them and guided meditation in it. And that's also I like that role of being a teacher. I never really saw that coming, but it's become a very big part of my life. So a teacher, and then a daughter and a sister and a lover and a friend and an aunt, and spending time with my nieces. So just trying to be good in all of those roles because I've chosen them or they've chosen me, and I would like to do the most authentic, loving version of that. Just to wrap it back to the first question, I guess, right?
Yes, and I remember now. I met you a few years ago.
And I'm also, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did forget the thing that you know me as probably, which is a performer, like a live concert performer. This is a huge part of me. There were other roles I played performing in Broadway shows or other kind of performance things, but I am, yes, always still a performer. It's kind of like the root of me, and that has changed a lot of what it is I perform. But I'm always giving concerts, and I'm super excited. I'm coming back to Europe soon, mid-August for 8 weeks, And it's a great tour. I'm so excited. I'm doing like 3 retreats on the island of Crete in Greece, and then another thing in the Alps. I'm doing 2 festivals, one in Bulgaria and the Happiness Festival in the Netherlands. I'm playing in Germany in a couple of small cities, and then Frankfurt, Berlin, and Munich. I'm so blessed. So that's a whole other role that I have been giving. I kind of flipped the dynamics of my life. I was living in Europe for 9 months of the year and doing that, and coming back to the States for like sometimes as little as 2 or 3 a year. And I've now flipped that. So now I've moved back to the States. I'm doing this work as a therapist, and I'm keeping the beautiful thing that I got to create over 10 years alive by coming back. Last year I came for 11 weeks. This year I'll come for 8 weeks. I'm trying to condense it so I could still have my life here that I just started and love, but can tap back into. So it's great. I'm super happy to also play the role of a performer.
Mm-hmm. And how this one is for you, because it's like you're walking on a kind of bridge. You say you're a few weeks in the States and you're the most part of the year you're in Europe. How is the influence from living in the States and also from the living in Europe?
It's different. I mean, of course, it's different. I miss Europe a lot. I moved back because it had been like 9 years, and I lived in Italy, which I absolutely love this country, and toured through Europe. My musical partner's in Munich, so a lot of our work was in Germany. It feels different, and it was kind of scary to start a life again. Only a couple of years ago, I thought I was too old, and I didn't have the energy to do all of that kind of again. But my higher voice was saying it's time to be in your country. It's time to be close to my family. It's too much away. Just flip it. Spend less time in this place which you love, but you'll still be here, and set up your life. Go home. It's time to go home. So yeah, I miss Europe for a lot of reasons, but I'm happy that I'll still get to be there. It'll be hard to leave. It's always hard to leave. But there's beautiful things about being here too. So I'm really happy with my life since I moved back here. I'm in this little bungalow. I live in like a little tiny house in a little court thing of like other little bungalows. There's like 17 of us little houses. And it's like a Garden of Eden outside. I wish I could take the camera. It's like fig trees and lemon trees and loquats growing and bananas. It's like,
you're living in paradise.
I'm living in paradise, and I'm like right outside Hollywood, but you wouldn't know it. Like it's just like there's wildlife at night and squirrels, and it's little paradise. So, and of course, it's like the best place to be in winter because I don't really have winter so much anymore. I had New York winters growing up, and they were nice, but it's hard to go back when you get spoiled with all that sunshine. I like it. It's good for me. So yeah, it's a trip to go back and forth, but I feel blessed that I have such a big, abundant life. It's cool.
So when I met you a few years ago in Podersdorf, yeah, and when I started to plan this summit, then you really jumped to my mind with a special situation, because I was in your workshop in the afternoon. I don't know if you still remember it.
Do you remember the name of the venue? I would maybe remember it that way.
I can't
the
remember.
Owner of the studio?
It was some kind of yoga studio there. They invited you. It was a small place, and it just happens that I come to that place because some friend of mine invited me to come to your concert in the evening.
Okay, so it was a workshop and then a concert.
It was first the concert and afterwards the workshop. This was
the next day.
A very special idea, because it was like when I heard you, I thought, oh wow, there's something special about this woman and about her voice and about what she's creating which kind of atmosphere you were creating. So I thought there's something interesting. And then I heard you are going to make a workshop on the next day. And it was possible for me to organize to be there. So, and that afternoon, this really, it still stay in my mind, this experience, because it was a body experience. So this connection between yoga, bhakti yoga, you told us in that time, bhakti yoga and singing was very new for me. And it really felt different to connect the voice with the yoga. So, and we were sitting in that circle, at the beginning, and you invited us just to, I think, to sing Om. I'm not sure if it was Om, but...
Or like to sing like an opera singer, like, ah!
I think it was first Om. It was not so excited like opera. This was later, I think. Okay. And we all were sitting in the circle, and it was like, when you're shy and when you think, oh, I don't know how my voice sounds, and I keep it low. And we all said, oh, we sound like this. And then you say, hey, guys, when everybody goes with that low level, then you are not really an invitation for the others to let their light shine. So raise your voice and let your voice flow, and then you're also invitation. And this was like exactly for me, this is the way how I want to live. And it goes straight to my heart, and I thought, this is like truth for me.
Thank you for reminding me that, because there's a little passage that I like to read in the workshop by Marianne Williamson, and I think the idea is in that passage. And I think I tend to say it at different points of the workshop, but I think it's probably better to say it really at the very get-go, at the very beginning, so that you start with this concept in mind and you don't waste any time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was right at the beginning, but I remember it like the right at the beginning. But when I planned the summit, then this special situation jumped to my mind. And I thought, spring in that time gave me such an important lesson. It was like, you remind me on something. It is not like I didn't know it before, but it was like a whole body experience. Yes, this is what we have to do to let our voice flow, to let our light shine, and to be an invitation that everybody let her light shine. And I thought, I like to get her for my summit, because it's good that this message also goes to the world. So,
yeah, thanks. I couldn't agree more. Can I tell a very quick story? I know you're, so I'm at the Deva Premal concert in LA just recently, and I went with my brother, and my brother is not really a yogi, but I had turned him on to one of her albums, and he really loved it. And so then I thought maybe he would like to come to the concert live. Anyway, there was a point in the concert where Manus, they play a new song, Namaste, which, by the way, I'm addicted to. I cannot stop listening to the song. I think like 12 times yesterday, and I'm down for another 5 already today. I just have it in loop. It just transports me. Anyway, Mitten was asking everyone, as part of this Namaste mantra, to just take a minute and look to the person on your right and look them in the eyes and greet them. And the same with the person on your left and greet them. And my brother, not alone, I mean, it was a theater that had 1,000 people or so, maybe 1,500. He said, oh, I feel funny. I don't want to do that. I don't want to look somebody in the eye and sing. It's too weird. And I said, you don't have to. Of course, you don't have to do anything. You can just do whatever you want. You don't have to. And then after the concert, we talked about it for a second. And I said, why should it be so hard? I understand that it feels awkward. We're not in practice of doing that, of looking somebody in the eye and like really being okay with it. And he said, you're right. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to come and practice for a second or two in a concert. But it was an interesting concept to have to stop and think about, because we have gotten in this world is such a disconnect between human beings. You see two people together on cell phones, that sometimes there's a disconnect. So there's work to be done. Thank God for your summit and for concerts like Debra Pramal's and lots of other people trying to do the work of reminding each other to bring it full circle, that we need to shine for each other. You know, we need to allow each other to explore what that means to shine, hold space for each other in order to do that, which requires a lot of patience sometimes, and just be in there for the better of the ultimate shine, right? Just to reduce it down to this very simple thing. But at the end, that's really what it always is. It's always love. It's always something really simple at the end of it. Maybe I've gotten off track. I don't know. I hope not.
No. You know, when we talk about it, we both know about it, yeah, how it is to let the light shine and to invite each other and to give each other space for it. But I also work as a psychotherapist, and I am often see at my clients that they come with that topic that they feel so disconnected and they have no idea about their light inside, or they do not even know anything about that stuff. So which way you have to get connected?
Yeah, I love the question. And as a psychotherapist, I imagine, you know, people come to you, they feel a disconnect, which is great, at least that they've recognized that there's a disconnect. They're already looking for help. So they're already on the road to like finding it. When you want to find it, you'll really find it, right? So yeah, I think, what does being you mean? To me, going back to the original question, and then I'll just keep on adding on, is that we just have to keep on asking ourselves questions. I think we're always in a state of inquiry. When we think we've figured it out, we're done. We're like, we're just disconnected and just, yeah. So there's always, you know, because we're a constantly changing being. So when we change, we don't know who we are again. It's like unfamiliar again. And then I feel like I'm going back and asking myself questions and figuring out, who am I now? Who am I today? Because it's a different person than who I was last year, 5 years ago, completely. Even, right, every cell in our body is even different after 7 years. So yeah, who are you is a state of always being in inquiry, always asking, what is it that makes me feel good? What is it that makes me feel disconnected? And those things, I guess, change, but to answer your very specific question, what is it for me? I think it's been the same things for a long time now, which is music brings me back to me, to just my higher self. Yoga brings me back to me and my higher self. And that practice has changed a lot. It used to be like a very vigorous asana practice, and it's not anymore. I just don't want to move like that. I want to move softer, gentler. And so I'm doing that. And meditation, good food, cooking. I cook a lot. These are the things that reset me. And just get me back to me and back to source, back to love, back to this divine guide, which lets me make the next, move. Is being able to kind of like hone and tone into love, into this higher being that will always show me the way if I get quiet enough. But those things help to quiet the mind. Because the mind is just, there's so many things, you get lost of the rooting things, I think. You get caught up in all the details. There's so many details. We live in a very busy world. And it's just getting busier, right? It just feels like it just keeps on getting busier. So we have more work to do to get quiet. You
talk before that you're working with elder people, with Alzheimer people. So what it is exactly what you love in this work?
I'm learning every day, and I'm really challenged. I'm learning how to be comfortable being more authentic all the time, and the difference. Because there's something about the state of the seniors that are really far gone in this disease that you look in their eyes, and even though they're unable to communicate verbally or even do things in their body physically anymore, I just believe in my deepest heart that they get it, that they really get you if you are being authentic with them. And they can see through all, they've, lived these lives. I feel like they can see into like any kind of, pardon my French, but any bullshit. It's a waste of time to even go there. So it's like forces me to always really just try to meet them somewhere in that space and really try to find it, whether it's through music or through movement, two things that I love. So I get to use those two things. And I'm like, how? I mean, I guess there must be similarities as a psychotherapist when you're talking to people and you need to ask the right questions at the right time or the right voice, or I don't know. It forces you to really be in the moment, though, I would imagine, in a similar way. So I'm sure you can relate, but I feel like I'm figuring it out all the time. It keeps me very present. So I think it's a win-win. I think it's a...
I can follow you with that experience, because a few years ago I was working in a hospice, and they have a really similar experience. It makes me so pure, because in that situation, when people are on the way of dying, I say like this, then you don't have to play any role anymore. It is like let all your masks fall down and just get connected in this very moment. You don't have to.
Yeah, pure is the perfect word.
Yeah, it reminds me when you say you have to be authentic, and it makes you really, it forces you maybe like being in the present. Yeah.
And there's something very empowering about being in the present, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I can make good decisions when I'm in the present moment. I know what to say when I'm in the present moment. I know how to behave when I'm in the present moment. It's a vacation and empowering all at the same time.
Yeah. I once wrote down the sentence because I'm working also as a vocation coach. So to look what is your real calling in your life. And this sentence come to my mind. Your vocation is there where you could be totally present.
My book, say that again one more time. I like that.
Yeah. So your vocation or your calling is there where you are totally present.
Yeah, great.
When you watch your life in that, in all these moments where you are really present, so there is your vocation shining through you.
That is so well said. Beautiful. Oh, even in not your own language. That was so beautifully said. Yeah, I like that. That's true.
And we can feel that when we are really connected in this moment, then there it's something like it's easygoing what is flowing through us.
Totally. Yeah, so that's this job that's I like about it. It's keeping me more present than I think I've ever been before, because I'm getting to do it, all the time in my own life, work, and then I'm thinking about it. It's changing my life for the better. I can feel it.
And it's also special, that you were looking for such a kind of job. You can do any other job, but you choose that one.
Yeah, I feel like I just got rained on by the gods. I feel like I'm really in my dharma right now. I'm doing the work that I'm here to do, and I feel that, and it's taken a minute to find it and to find the balance of all the things that I like to do, because this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how long it can take to really arrive in your full vision. It's exciting. It's very exciting.
And it's so powerful when you say that this is the reason why I'm here. I'm here for that kind of, this is my purpose to be here.
Yeah, and I feel that way, and I knew it. I found this. I got to this job through this man named Brian, and I don't even know why I need to tell the story. I guess the only thing I really need to tell about the story is that the first time I showed up to play for a group of seniors living with memory loss, I think I played 3 chords, maybe. I mean, and I knew in that, I'll never forget it, like where I was sitting, what I was looking at, the old people that were looking at me. I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a celebration, even me playing the next couple songs. I was like, wow, that's cool that I just got to find that. I feel lucky. It's very, it's exciting. It makes me feel like a kid as well. I just get like giddy about it, especially with the music. And there are, I work with different groups. So some groups are way more far along in the disease and have way less capabilities to join in. That could be more challenging, some of the sessions, but still there's joy in it. And then others that are really at the very beginning that are like singing every note and dancing and giving back so much energy that it's like a party. It really is like a party. It's fantastic. I like all parts of it.
And this is also good when you remind us that you say, I feel like a kid. Yeah. And this is also interesting. When do we feel like children? Yeah. When, in which, what we are doing so that we have the feeling, I feel like I'm a child.
Yeah, it's true. I think of my workshops like that. I'm like, my workshops are like where big people can come be a kid again for a minute and like discover stuff and play and have fun and really not judge themselves. Like, because it's important to be a kid. It's important I guess when we're not judging ourselves, I feel like we're kids.
Yeah.
I don't think we're born with judgment. I think we learn it somehow.
Yeah.
And that's because of the expectations, right? So, when you're without judgment, you're free to play.
Yeah. And how does this feel for you, to be without judgments?
Oh my God.
From inside
Great.
to outside.
Great. I think I forget how much I'm judging a lot of the time. Even when I think I'm not, like there's self-judgment going on all the time. There's some layer of that. Judging other people, I'm not proud of that, but I know that I do it. Seeing someone in a restaurant already, I have an opinion about that person. I've got, just stupid things like that. I noticed that in my partner. He's really not judgmental. It makes me realize how judgmental I am.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. I feel good that I'm being made more aware of that, the right reflection. So hopefully I'll improve. I'm sure I have improved, but I see room for improvement. It's just a lot of energy to hold too. It's just all that is like extra layers, and so many of them we don't even realize. I never realized. So if we get an opportunity like a job or a partner or that makes us see it, then we're always growing. Then we're like having fun. I think that's part of it too. Part of the play is feeling the growth, like kids do when their bodies are growing. There's something very exciting about that, right? grew out of your clothes, your foot got bigger. You know, there's something new and exciting. And I think as adults, we still want to feel like that. And growing, like, I handle that way better than I would have handled that a year ago. There's something kind of tintillating. It's like kind of equal to I grew out of my shoe size. I don't know. That was yeah. What do you think? Do you?
Yeah, just to go with that picture, as you say, this growing, yeah, like not only go out of the shoe size.
Yeah. When I did my teacher training at Shivananda, one of the swamis was talking about meditating or chanting, and it was different than what someone had known. He said, listen, you're not here just to stretch your muscles by doing asana, since that's you're here to stretch your mind. So really put yourself in a place to stretch your mind, which to me is opening up to new ideas. It's the same thing, right? Growing, opening, expanding. And he was right, just come with an open mind to like leave with new ideas in it. Even if it's different than a different school or a different swami once said or a different guru, it's just more information. Can't be bad. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I think the people that are continuing in their adulthood to stretch their minds, to continue to grow, even though the body has stopped, I think are generally happier people. I think. But there's me judging.
Yeah, but I think you speak out of your experience. Yeah. As you say, I'm not the one who I was even 10 minutes before or 1 year before, 10 years before.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why we are here, to stretch our mind and to stretch our muscle of love also.
Yeah, and doing it together to help each other, remind each other, keep each other on a path, on a track. It is part of our responsibility to one another as human beings. I think that's one of the cool things about being human, is the way we can communicate. And taking advantage of that is great, because we've fallen short on the one hand, and we need to counter it, so.
Just jumped to my mind about these judgments, because the being you, the title just came to me with Dane here from the Access Consciousness. And Dane is talking a lot. He's talking about judgments. And it is like when we are living in a judgmental way, we are disconnected from being ourselves. Judgments keep us away from being ourselves, because it's not our true being.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, it's good to be reminded of that.
And as you said before, it takes a lot of energy to judge there and judge there and judge there and judge about ourselves.
Yeah. Carrying all that around.
Yeah. What makes you really, really happy?
A lot of things make me happy, but I think recently the realization that I can live a really simple life and that there's beauty in simplicity. That idea makes me really happy. Perhaps it's because I've just come off of like a 10-year period that was a very complicated life. Living away from my country, traveling as much as I was, being an artist, being a yogi. I don't know, it was just a complicated life. I had 2 houses. I don't know, I was trying to like live on 2 places. It was complicated. And now it's become very simple. in my little blue bungalow with my lovely man and this job that I adore and being able to work on music. I don't know, it just feels like everything got very simple, like more aligned maybe. I cut out a lot of the fat that wasn't serving me in my life. Or I don't know, somehow I just have been able to get the rest. They say a good recipe for cooking is no more than like 4 ingredients. Otherwise you're going to get out of like a pure state for the food. And yeah, I kind of think that's true of my life, that it less pieces, just the right pieces. Simplicity makes me happy. Musically too. Doesn't have to be a really complicated piece to be really effective. It needs to be really simple, really authentic, and really connected in love. That's it. It's a simple ingredient. And some of the best songs are that formula. It's true. So that's a nice way to go. I don't have to count the whole thing. The whole idea just slows me down and makes me smile. So gotta be good, right?
It sounds like a good, tasty soup. These ingredients make soup.
4 good ingredients like that you love. Each one of them you just love. And how could you not be happy?
And I really like your answer, because this simplicity is something what I really can feel, and I also can feel it when you say it, that you are living that kind of simplicity.
I never thought I would find it. I just wrote a song. I gave myself an assignment while my boyfriend was away working. I said, I'm going to write him a country song because he's a country boy. And I said, I'm going to write a country song, which I have some songs that sound a little country, but I never set out to like write a country song. And the first 2 lines, nobody knows this, and so he hasn't even heard it yet, but the first line is something, never thought I'd say this out loud. Never thought I'd say it. Shoot, I'm going to mess it up. I can't remember. But I say, I never thought I'd say this out loud. Living simple sure can be nice. Very simple, sure can be nice. And that's the very opening. I didn't know that. And yeah, this is a recent discovery, and it's making me super happy to be the opening line in my brand new song.
And when you think back, you say your life was in somehow so complicated because you were traveling for so many years in 2 houses and whatever. And what was the first step to change this complicated life to more simplicity?
That's a great question. I think it's 2 parts. Yeah, part of the complication was also relationship. I was out of a relationship, but not fully divorced to send that off. There was like a long period that we were just sort of waiting, stuck in, I don't know, afraid to move to the next. That made things complicated. So yeah, the complication could be a physical thing, having 2 spaces, but it also could be like just mentally not knowing where to land. So you're like stuck in this purgatory, and that's exhausting. So I think there was just too much of all of it when what made me move back, what made me decide to simplify it. It had just gotten, it reached its limit of what I could manage. I think also I was getting older, so my energy and it just changed. At the beginning, there was something very exciting about moving all the time and traveling all the time. And as I got older, it got less fun to do that. There was also a part of me that felt like was learning who I was. And now who I was someone that needed to go back and root again. So a combination of growing up and needs changing and just meeting your boundaries. Be like, boom, okay. This has come in a lot of different ways, like with a relationship there that was just time to say goodbye to, with the lifestyle that just needed to go to a different level. Musically, I needed another change. And I was actually coming back in my mind, I had made a plan because I thought I needed a plan to move back. And so one step I took before I had even left was applied to school to go back to be a student, to study and become a music therapist. And interestingly enough, within a year, I started doing the work of a music therapist. So I stopped for a minute for this program in school, and I decided to give this a year or so to feel what it's like to be able to do this work without this degree and time and money, especially in the US, money, and just see what it would be like to do the work. So that's where I am at the moment. But yeah, it reached its threshold. It was time for a change. I think you just know when you've reached another chapter. Every good book has hopefully lots of different chapters, and that chapter was just becoming more evidently done.
So this one sounds that like you come naturally to that kind of boundary.
Yeah, it felt the whole thing has been totally organic. Yes, you're right. Like there could have been some crazy happening that made me move. Right. There wasn't anything like that. It was all very organic and very just living my life and keep on checking in and living my life and keep on checking in. And my life in Europe changed a lot. When I first went there, I was playing like a lot of my own songs, my own kind of like popish, rock, folky songs, and covers of Beatles and Bob Marley and some of the greatest songwriters, Dylan and Joni Mitchell, and playing these all over the streets of Europe in different festivals. And which was an amazing way to see Europe. It was so exciting. I saw like all of Italy in ways that are just unimaginable. Little provincial towns that I was invited to go to. I never would be there otherwise. Played my music on the cobblestone streets. For an American, that's like a fantasy. It's like being on the set of Beauty and the Beast or something with these cobblestone streets. And we don't have anything that even looks like that. So it's so romantic, so beautiful. It was a dream to play music like that. And then as time in Europe progressed, I think I grew out of that, like schlepping the amplifiers and all the stuff I had to take everything with me. It was hard work getting all around with all the gear as a musician. And then I found mantra, and I started to do mantra music and to show up at yoga studios or festivals where there was a sound person, and it was all a little calmer and gentler and mature and sweeter. And that was really appealing to me. And I started to really sink my roots into this community and nurture that and write more things that I could offer and teach more so that I can offer ideas and just be a vibrant presence in this like healing, well-being, open, conscious community. And I'm still here. So just shifting the paradigm of seniors or kids or yogis and not yogis, but basically still finding my way in this beautiful community that I feel comfortable in.
What is so special of living in a community for you?
Well, in my case, because people live in communities, right, that are physical communities like ashrams or house complexes or, right, there's so many physical kinds of communities. So I don't have I have friends, which are my community, but community, I think it's just a way of us feeling connected to other beings, a way to make us not feel alone and isolated, because I don't think it's human nature to be alone. I think, yes, we need time alone, but I think we are meant to be together, to help each other, to come together, to have these forums or workshops or concerts that keep us on the path. I think that's how we are wired. I like it. It's sweet.
So for me, I like the way how you talk about community, because many people, they think, I have to live really in a community like an ashram, or there are a lot of projects also in Europe. and it has something to do with that. I always say like this inner circle, yeah, that you're feeling. I am a part of a circle, and I'm always.
I like the circle.
We always have our place in the circle of a community.
Yeah, I'm grateful for, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it at both ends. Concerts, I'm happy to give them, but I'm also really happy to go to them. Recently, I went to see David Kamal, I said, and 2 weeks prior to that, at the same theater was Krishna Das. Mm-hmm. So I had these 2 big happenings recently, and they were so much fun. And it was, I'm still kind of buzzing from it, and I'm writing music from it, and I knew I'm going to get inspired, and it's going to be a great thing to be inspired just before I'm coming back to Europe. So it's working fabulously. I'm writing and excited, and nice to pop into community. And it was just 2 days. I don't live in a community, but I went to one concert, and 2 weeks later I went to another concert, just like a blast of it, a little injection or coffee, boom, of oh yeah. And I think there's a warmth about feeling part of a community, right? It makes you feel warm and fuzzy in a way. And that's a good way to attack everything, from a warm, fuzzy place.
So, spring, we're coming to an end.
That's a good place to end on. Being attacked by a warm, fuzzy place.
There's the possibility to say something to the circle we are sitting in. So there is an audience.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to say something now at the end, what is now important for you to say, or what you want to share with our audience.
Okay. I'm very grateful for all of the experiences that are coming into my life where I get to share in a very authentic way. I think coming together to lift each other is so important, and there's so many different ways we do that, through song, through dance, through talking, through circles, through sharing. I'm grateful for all of them. I really, really am. I think this work is exciting and important and fun and beautiful. And it's just great to be on both ends, receiving and giving. And I thank you for including me and having me and allowing me to show up and talk and share. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for everybody who's showing up and sharing, and follow the love. Let's just keep on following the love.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your all your words, that you're sharing your experience. I really can feel you. And for me, you are a shining light, and you're an invitation for me, and for sure for all the people who are watching this interview now, that you are an invitation to be more playful, to be more authentic, that you're an invitation that we are exploring our life and enjoying our life. So thank you that much.
Thank you. So nicely said. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Now that I found my voice, I know that there's no choice. It simply wants to share